love, light, and happiness. I had a dream. I had a dream. Yes, I had a dream when I was 16. Not a sleeping dream, but a daydream. I would lay under the cool Caribbean skies and stormy nights, watched as the galactic stars danced in orbit. I saw myself on stage singing love songs with sensational singers like Peebo Bryson and Lionel Richie and Dionne Warwick. I thought, if God would just allow me to board an iron bird, as Dennis Brown used to say, my dreams would be accomplished. America was my destination. America, the land of the free and brave. Free from my past, free from my oppressors of sexually and mentally exploitations. I wanted to be free. Nights after nights, I would face the universe and stated my request. As each star twinkled and retreated in orbit, my request for freedom seemed impossible. But I was determined. It never stopped me from dreaming. Growing up, I knew there was a power greater than the forces that kept me bound. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. I felt it deep in the crevices of my soul. So I never gave up. Like a mentally charged teenager, I pressed on. I continued to commission my request to that great power, the one that sets the stars in orbit, held the moon in place, and command the sun to shine. I knew I had a purpose. I knew I was here to do good. But how to execute that purpose, I just didn't know how. So I started speaking words that wasn't, I think. Unknown to me, I was igniting the law of attractions. But in reality, I was just telling lies. Speaking what wasn't as if they were. I would follow people to the airport and imagined it was me boarding that plane. Back then, you could see passengers boarding and waving goodbyes. I made up stories of me traveling to America, even though I never owned a passport or knew the process of getting one. And boy, it worked. 3 years later, the universe opened its arms and granted my wish. The little country girl with her knock knees, hidden scars, bright white teeth, and infectious smile was going to America, the land for the free and brave. I thought to myself, finally, me on stage with Peebo Bryson and Lionel Richie and the sensational Dionne Warwick. My days of misery has finally ended. No more would I give on loads of dirty clothes to wash from morning till evening because I needed a place to rest my weary head. No more Would I be told I'm not your mother, so I don't have to share my meal with you? If your mother abandoned your ugly ass, why should you be my responsibilities? No more. Would I be told, once my children are home, make sure they're fed and my house is cleaned? No more. No more. Freedom at last. Freedom at last. I will be famous. My oppressors will hear about me and beg for my forgiveness, I kept telling myself. From an early age, I made a conscious decision that I would never allow men to use me and dump their lazy, one-eye, legless, unproductive tadpoles in me just because they're frustrated and needed a cooling jar. I wasn't the most beautiful girl around, as per society standards, but I refused to be used like brown paper bags and discarded like yesterday's trash. But deep within, I knew I was beautiful and wonderfully made. I strongly believed I shouldn't have to spread my legs for a man and his legless sperm to define who I am. But circumstances had dealt me unkind, where I had to turn the other cheek. When people I trusted used my life's experiences to imprison and enslaved me. But freedom is a must. And as the great Bob Marley said, won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption song. So I emancipated myself from mental and emotional slavery the day I left Jamaica in 1983. I left choking with joy and anger in the same breath. Joy to accomplish my daydream and anger coupled with bitterness to execute vengeance on my oppressors. Those family members who wasn't dead yet, who used and abused me for their selfish desires. As a young girl, even though my imaginations were extraordinary, I couldn't foresee their bitter endings. All I wanted was revenge now. I had never voiced my pain to Karma. In fact, I never even knew she existed or where she lived. But she knew me. She knew all about me. She was watching all along. She knew every pain I had suffered, every embarrassing moments I had encountered. She watched the rejections. The nights she watched over me when cold ground was my bed and rocks were my pillows. She watched as my own mother refused to shelter me and market stalls were my Airbnb. From a distance, she watched and she watched and she waited. I had a dream when I was 16. Love, light, and happiness.